20 interesting facts about the countries of the world. 1. The most diverse country in the world, India. Ethnically, religiously, racially, linguistically, culturally, and even economically, India represents the greatest diversity, or ranked second. 2. The country with the most people behind bars, the USA. If there is a chance to put someone in jail, this country will take it. 5% of the world's population live in the US, and 25%, about 2.2 million people, live in their prisons. Russia is the country with the least number of acquittals, 1.5 million. China occupies the third place, with 870,000 people in prison. 3. The country with the fattest citizens, no, not the US Nauru. As much as 95% of the population of this dwarf island nation in the Western Pacific is overweight. The reason for this is simply the large amount of food consumed by the inhabitants and low mobility. 4. The country that is most likely to be underwater, the Maldives. The inhabitants of the Maldives have a good reason to be worried. Due to global warming, the islands are increasingly going underwater every year. 5. The only country in the world with coral roads, Guam. It just so happens that Guam is poor in natural sand, so the asphalt there is made from oil and coral. 6. The country with the most lakes, Canada. Canada is home to 60% of all the lakes in the world, more than 3 million, and they occupy 9% of the Canadian territory. 7. The most arid country, Libya. Libya is 99% desert, and some regions have not had rain for decades. 8. The biggest opium-producing country, Afghanistan. It's hard to believe, but 95% of all the opium in the world is produced here. 9. The world's largest producer of oxygen, Russia. Thanks to Siberia, which majestically contains 25% of the world's forests, Russia is the most powerful recycler of carbon dioxide into oxygen on Earth. 10. The country with the least forest, Haiti. The forests in Haiti have been almost completely eliminated. You can see this even on satellite images. You can distinguish the border between Haiti and the Dominican Republic, where the forest is still growing. 11. The most unbridled country in the world, Somalia. According to the Global Peace Index, Somalia was able to overtake Iraq in the ranking of the most violent countries in the world to take first place. Somalia constantly attacks neighboring countries, and the poor Somalis are constantly at war as well as in a state of revolution. This is caused by the incredible poverty of this country, where the population does not even have enough to eat. 12. The most educated country in the world, Canada. 50% of Canadians have at least a high school education. Coming on the heels of Canada are Israel, 45%, and Japan, 44%. 13. The largest city-state in the world, Singapore. The area of Singapore is 714.3 square kilometers and is gradually increasing due to the land reclamation program. 14. Most multilingual country, Papua New Guinea. English is considered to be the official language of the country, but in fact only about 2% of the population speaks it. In reality, however, Papua New Guineans speak over 820 different languages, 12% of the world's languages. 15. The country with the most sheep per capita, the Falkland Islands, UK. There are on average 166 sheep for each person. Not surprisingly, the main income of the islands comes from the export of wool. 16. The least densely populated country is Mongolia. The population density of Mongolia is only 4 people per 1.5 square kilometers. There are 340,000 people for the same 1.5 square kilometers in Mong Kok, Hong Kong. 17. The country with the most tanks, Russia. Russia has 21,000 tanks. Second place goes to the US, 16,000 tanks. 18. The country with the youngest population, Niger. About 50% of the population of Niger is under 15 years. In the desert, which covers 80% of this country, there seems to be nothing left to do except for children. 19. The country with the largest number of citizens not living in it, Malta. Due to several economic crises, combined with an increased birth rate, Malta has been hit by several waves of emigration, resulting in more citizens living outside of Malta today than in Malta itself. 20. The country with the most time zones. You will be surprised, but it is France. If you take into account all of France, including overseas territories, you will see that this country is located on 12 time zones. The United States of America comes next, with 11 time zones, and Russia is belted with 9.